Hello, everyone, and welcome to Enterprise Messaging, Powering Customer Engagement Through Mobile Messaging, presented by Infinite Convergence. I'm Molly Walker, Managing Editor of Fierce Mobile IT, and I'll be moderating this webinar. Our speakers today are Pamela Clark-Dixon and John Puma. You can read their full bios on the right side of your window. Just a few technical notes before we begin. If you have trouble reading a slide, please hold and drag the right corner of the slide window to enlarge. Please also disable your pop-up blocker to participate in the interactive parts of this presentation. At the bottom of the console, select the word Download Slides to view a PDF version of the slide deck. We will follow the presentations with a Q&A session, so please submit your questions during or after the presentations using the Q&A box at the right of your window. Okay, now let's begin. Pamela, please go ahead.
Thank you, Molly, for that kind introduction. I'm pleased to be co-presenting this webinar today with Infinite Convergent Solutions and Fierce Wireless. So this is the topic of our webinar today, enterprise messaging, as Molly has previously indicated. That's just some contact details for myself and John. Okay, so this is the agenda for today's webinar presentation. I'm going to start with a brief introduction in which I'll also ask for your participation in a short poll. I'll then move on to setting enterprise messaging in the context of mobile messaging before examining some use case scenarios and benefits of enterprise mobile messaging by industry vertical. We'll take a look at some of the enablers and inhibitors for enterprise mobile messaging before John will drill a bit deeper into some of the topics I've introduced, and we'll close out with some takeaways and Q&A. Right. So here are the questions that we'll be addressing this afternoon in this joint webinar. What is mobile messaging in the context of the enterprise? As an enterprise, why should I use mobile messaging? How can I best use mobile messaging to add value to my company? What do I need to know to ensure the best possible outcome when adding mobile messaging to my business processes or to my customer-facing communications, among others? But first, we would ask you please to participate in a short poll. This is the first of 3 questions for which I would ask you to indicate your response by using the polling tool that should be appearing on your webinar screen now. We'll be providing you with the results of this poll question shortly, and the poll results will be made available to you after the webinar. So, our first question is, what is your main reason for joining the webinar today? My company doesn't use mobile messaging but would like to. My company is interested in mobile messaging use cases. My company would like to expand beyond SMS. My organization is investigating mobility features and services, or this is not applicable to you. Okay. I'll just give you a few seconds or a minute or so to answer that poll question. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to briefly discuss the way in which mobile messaging has evolved over the past few years and look at some of the upcoming technologies that enterprises will likely want to start incorporating in their mobile messaging strategies. SMS and MMS have been around for a number of years now and are pretty much standard on all mobile devices. It is these 2 technologies that enterprises have tended to use most when engaging with their customers, simply because of their reach. More recently, mobile email and instant messaging services have become more commonly used on mobile phones. In fact, Return Path recently stated that more than half of email opens globally during the Christmas holiday season occurred on mobile devices, and on Christmas Day, 62% of email opens occurred on mobile devices, according to the company. But if we look to the future for enterprise messaging, instant messaging applications such as WhatsApp, Viber Media, Skype, and BlackBerry Messenger are also becoming incredibly popular. The popularity of these applications has spurred mobile operators into developing their own standards-based rich communications service, the Rich Communications Suite, which goes under the consumer brand Join. Operators such as Sprint, Verizon, and Metro PCS have already launched RCS-based messaging apps for their subscribers. Meanwhile, more subscribers are signing up to receive push notifications from the applications provided by advertisers and brands. On the horizon, we also have Web Real-Time Communications, WebRTC, which will provide the ability for enterprises to embed IP-based communications and messaging into their desktop and eventually mobile web pages. So, Molly, do we have the poll results for the first question yet, please? Okay, we might just move on with the next segment of the presentation. So I'm going to set the scene for mobile messaging. So this slide contains some Informa Telecoms and media data which illustrates the appetite for person-to-person messaging, which has subsequently contributed to fueling mobile users' appetite to use application messaging or to be communicated with using application messaging. Mobile subscribers are, in general, prolific users of SMS and MMS, and enterprises are building on the reach, availability, and popularity of these two messaging bearers to communicate with their customers and to provide information and services to them. So if we look at SMS to begin with, in 2013, Informa found that 7.6 trillion SMSs were sent globally. In terms of regions, Asia Pacific has the highest share of that messaging traffic at 4.4 trillion messages, which is almost 60% of the global share. But North America is the second largest market globally with 1 trillion messages, or 13.2%. And the U.S., in terms of SMS in general, is the largest market globally with just under 900 billion SMS messages for last year. But looking at SMS application messaging in a bit more detail, Informa is forecasting that SMS application messaging traffic and revenues will continue to grow between 2011 and 2016 at a time when person-to-person SMS revenues are declining. In terms of regional share, in 2013, North America had the largest share of SMS application messaging revenues, followed by Asia Pacific and Western Europe. However, North America has the third largest share of SMS application messaging traffic at 38.4 billion messages behind Asia Pacific and Africa. In total, global SMS application messaging traffic was 596.6 billion events 386.1 billion events in 2013, and that will rise to just under the 600 billion events in 2016. If we turn now to MMS traffic, in 2013, 327.2 billion MMSs were sent globally. Again, Asia Pacific has the highest share at 82.4%, or just under 270 billion messages. North America is the second highest market in terms of global share, with 8.7%, or 28.5 billion messages. And as by country, the U.S. is the second largest market globally behind China, with 24.4 billion messages. China had 76.9 billion messages in 2013. So the picture of growth also applies to global MMS application messaging traffic between 2011 and 2016. Global MMS application messaging traffic totaled 95.4 billion messages in 2013. Asia Pacific again had the largest share of messaging traffic with 93.4 billion messages in 2013, followed by Western Europe with 1 billion messages, and then North America with just 520.4 million messages. But this clearly shows that there is a lot of room for growth in North America. Right. I'm going to turn now to some data which was collected from Infinite Convergence's 2013 mobile messaging trend study. And again, this serves to illustrate the dependence of mobile users on their devices and their desire to use mobile messaging not only for person-to-person communications, but also for communications with enterprises and for receiving content and services from enterprises. So some of the key findings include the fact that 91% of respondents read mobile messages within 15 minutes of receiving a notification. So that's quite significant. It means that mobile users are very engaged with their devices. As I mentioned before, targeting is key to customer engagement, as underlined by the finding that 48% of respondents would communicate with enterprises using mobile messaging, provided that the messaging communications was personalized. Again, looking at mobile users' propensity to engage with different vertical industries using mobile messaging, there was a good appetite from respondents to the Infinite Convergence survey regarding their use of mobile messaging with various industry verticals. As you can see, half of the respondents would make or confirm travel plans, and a third would communicate with their bank or share information with their doctor. The use of mobile messaging by enterprises is based on a number of foundational elements. Not least among these is the fact that reach is pretty well universal. Everyone who has a mobile device has a device which can receive messages. These messages might be SMS or MMS, but the growing penetration of smartphones and mobile broadband means that mobile subscribers are increasingly using messaging applications and push notifications, among others. Mobile messaging is typically based on mobile operator networks, which helps to ensure the reliable delivery of messages, and there's an ability for the quality of the messaging experience to be controlled. There are proven use cases in multiple industry verticals, and across these industry verticals, proven use cases in multiple business units. Finally, messaging has proven appeal to mobile users, as per the stats at the top of this slide. But to what extent are enterprises actually using mobile messaging? Well, according to a survey of Fortune 50 companies carried out by Burstyn Marsteller, 62% of these companies are already using mobile communications to reach their customers and other stakeholders, while 58% have mobile applications. However, only 39% promoted their mobile offerings on their websites, and just 22% are using SMS. So again, there is an excellent opportunity here for enterprises that have not already started using mobile messaging to communicate with their customers, to start using it as well as a way of differentiating themselves from their competitors. Okay, so now going to look at the use cases and business benefits for enterprise mobile messaging. Okay, so the retail, finance, and travel industries have engaged extensively with mobile messaging, sharing a number of similar use cases, as you can see from this slide. Excuse me, I'll just take us back to the right slide there. Sending out promotions and special offers, providing information about product availability or to confirm an order, or to provide updated shipping information. These are some of the use cases for retail. Enterprises are using messaging to conduct marketing, advertising, and customer loyalty campaigns in this particular industry sector. In travel, enterprises are using messaging to provide special offers on airfares or room upgrades, emergency broadcasts or alerts, for example, if a flight is delayed. In the finance and banking industries, mobile messaging has become a key way for financial institutions to engage with and enable services for their customers in many markets around the world, including a number of markets where the mobile might be the only way in which someone can access banking services. Reach, as I mentioned before, is a key enabler for the use of mobile messaging by the enterprise market. These are some of the key determinants of success that we're going to discuss here. So the ability to analyze data as well that's collected as a result of marketing or customer loyalty campaigns, generating return on investment, the reliability of the service, and the security of the service. So in terms of analytics, for example, retailers, travel companies, and financial institutions all need to be sure that, for example, a mobile messaging campaign is as productive for them as a campaign in another medium, for example, mass media, or they may be able to use the analytical data that they collect to be able to further develop a service or a product that a particular segment of consumers or customers may be wanting. With regards to return on investment, a hotel, for example, might be able to send out a special offer on room rates, which would have the effect of increasing its occupancy rates for a particular segment of time, a particular time period. In the finance industry, ROI might be measured more in qualitative terms, for example, by providing customers with a reliable and secure mobile access mechanism to their banking and finance products. In that way, the bank or the financial institution can offer a service that's extremely useful to their consumer. Quantitative ROI will often follow by increased customer engagement or timely payment of bills, for example. With regards to reliability, there's no point being offered a fare upgrade if a flight has already gone, or if a bank sends out an alert to a customer to notify them that they're reaching a credit limit. So it's vital that the alert reaches the customer in a timely fashion so that they might be able to take some action on that alert. Security, obviously, is also very important. At any point where you've got a customer entrusting their data to an enterprise, for example, their payment details, such as credit card information, they need to be sure that this data is kept private and protected and not made available at any point to an unauthorized third party. Information and transactional security is critically important in banking and finance. Okay. Right. I'm going to turn now to look at some business benefits for enterprise mobile messaging. So why should enterprises engage with mobile messaging? Here are a number of the reasons why. There are a number of business benefits that can accrue from using mobile messaging to engage with customers and other stakeholders, as listed on this slide. And most of these benefits will apply across multiple vertical industries. To start with, there's the ability for enterprises to build awareness of their brands and of their products and services. Targeted marketing campaigns via mobile messaging can help companies to ensure that they're reaching the right audience, and analytics can help further hone the effectiveness of those campaigns and of any future product or service development. Enterprises can also directly or indirectly increase their revenues through using mobile messaging by providing their customers with a better product or service, and they may be able to do this more quickly because of the immediacy with which mobile users engage with messaging on their devices. Customers will be happier and more loyal because they're saving time and they're engaging in better communications with the enterprise. Also, by providing alerts and reminders to customers, enterprises can reduce their costs by, for example, not having to send out paper-based reminders. A higher proportion of bills could be paid on time. A higher proportion of people might attend their scheduled doctor or dentist appointment. Being able to assure customers or stakeholders that the mobile messaging service is secure is also going to help increase user adoption and use of the service, because your customers are going to trust in that service as being secure enough to send their personal information over. And there are also benefits for internal use of mobile messaging within the enterprise through providing better communication between, for example, the human resource department and employees, or enabling mobile workers such as account managers or engineers to update their back-end systems. Okay. So just going to provide a couple of examples of how some enterprises have already been engaging with mobile messaging and getting some good results across the board, whether that's a small to medium enterprise or a national or even multinational corporation. We've listed just a couple of examples on this slide of the effectiveness of the use of enterprise mobile messaging in the retail and the banking sector. For example, a U.S. hardware retailer was able to increase its average transaction value by a whopping 400% using a combination of SMS and mobile coupons. And according to the some U.S. Federal Reserve research, 1/3 of mobile banking users are already receiving text alerts from their banks. I'd just like to provide a couple more examples of where companies are achieving business objectives by using mobile messaging. For example, there's a global online retailer which is using SMS notifications in about 150 countries to provide real-time shipping information, tracking updates, and delivery alerts to its customers. This capability has resulted in an improved customer experience, and that customers no longer have to go online to retrieve updates on their delivery, which might be a lengthy process. They also feel that they're receiving better communications from the retailer. Another example is that of a mass transit provider, which is using two-way SMS to enable its customers in a number of markets worldwide, including the U.S., to purchase tickets, to top up their cards, to receive balance alert and expiration notices. This service also enables passengers to view transit schedules on their mobile devices. As a result, the company has improved customer satisfaction through being able to streamline the process of purchasing tickets and providing real-time notifications. Okay. This brings us to enablers and inhibitors, but first I have another poll question here. So this is appearing on your screen now. The question is, if your company isn't using mobile messaging, what are the key inhibitors for you? Is it a lack of internal competency in mobile messaging? Is it a lack of clarity about relevant use cases? Is it concerns about integration into business or technology platforms? Are you concerned about security, reliability, and traceability? And also there is a not applicable option if this is not applicable to you. So while you're going through this poll question, I'll just briefly go over some enablers and inhibitors for enterprise mobile messaging. One of the key enablers, as I mentioned earlier, is mobile penetration and use. there are something like, I think, 6 billion mobile devices globally. And so far as messaging is concerned, as I mentioned previously, almost everyone who has a mobile device is also able to message on that device. So this provides a huge addressable market for enterprises. Okay. Also, there are proven use cases for mobile messaging, using mobile messaging. As per the previous slide, there are a number of use cases that are already being employed by thousands of enterprises around the world across multiple vertical industries. And those use cases are generating return on investment that's both qualitative, that is, increasing customer satisfaction or contributing to product or service development, and quantitative, increasing revenues or reducing costs. But there are some inhibitors too. So the main one, I think, being, or a key one being, I think, complexity of integration. I think a number of enterprises probably look at mobile messaging, particularly with regards to the newer IP-based communication services, and think that it's too difficult for them. How do I do this? How do I make sure that I'm not spending a lot of money on a project that's not delivering a return for me? Okay. Coupled with that is the challenge of finding a high-quality service provider. There have been quite a few instances where companies have had a bad experience because they're using a bulk messaging provider that doesn't have good service level agreements around reliability, security, and delivery receipts, for example. Finally, I think enterprises are concerned about whether they're sending out irrelevant messaging or spam. Maybe they think that maybe their customers will be annoyed with them because they haven't opted in to receive it, or having opted in, they've then found that the content or service isn't relevant to them. So this can be a key inhibitor, maybe preventing enterprises from engaging as much with mobile messaging as they potentially could. Okay. That ends this segment of the presentation. I'll be back later with some takeaways. But I'm now going to hand it over to Molly from Fierce Wireless, who I believe will have the poll results now for us to discuss. Thank you, Molly.
Great. Thanks, Pamela. I do believe that we have some poll results here for the first half of our presentation. Okay, our response to poll question number 1, which was, what is your main reason for joining the webinar today? It looks like most are investigating mobility features and services, followed closely by those who are interested in mobile messaging use cases.
Right.
I'll take a look at the
that's
results
interesting.
here.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, no, please.
If we could go back to have a look at, because I think you've moved on to the next poll question. Can we go back
Sure.
to the first one? Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to poll question number 1.
Okay. So those results are interesting from the perspective that there is, I think, a desire from a number of members of the audience here to be more engaged with mobility, and they're quite interested in looking into how they might be able to better engage with it. So that's quite an interesting finding there. Thank you. Shall we look at the second poll question?
Yeah, let's look at poll question number 2. If your company isn't using mobile messaging, what are the key inhibitors? So it looks like this didn't apply to some people, but for those that aren't using it, looks like we're tied, that they have a lack of clarity about relevant use cases or integration into business or technology platforms is a concern.
Okay. Well, again, that hopefully will be, some of the areas that I think John is going to, I know John is going to cover in his segment of the presentation. So these will be areas that John will be able to address and provide some more clarity and information on.
Excellent. Yes, I agree. All right. Shall we move on?
Yes. With that, John, take it away. And I believe we have a few more poll questions later in the presentation as well.
Yes, we have one more coming up towards the end of the presentation.
Okay. And just a reminder before John gets started, that if you have any questions, you can select the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen and submit some questions now, and we will be sure to address those following John's presentation.
Awesome. Okay, well, thanks, Molly and Pamela, to you for the great insights into the enterprise messaging service opportunity, which is, as you pointed out, still very much in the growth phase globally. As a means of quick introduction, we at Infinite Convergence have been providing messaging infrastructure solutions to mobile network operators around the world for more than 20 years. While today we are focusing our webinar primarily on EMS services as a cloud-based service, which we are offering directly to enterprises, I just want to point out that our EMS service is also offered to mobile network operators, EMS business divisions as well. In this latter case, the EMS would be provisioned within the mobile network operator's infrastructure and sold through the operator's sales channel. From a product management perspective, we at Infinite Convergence look at the mobile messaging needs of the enterprise as requirements for EMS service provider, and we need to ensure we are addressing the key needs of the enterprise as they endeavor to leverage mobile services as a means by which to grow brand loyalty, revenue, and profits. For the enterprise, the service provider needs to address at least 5 key categories of needs to enable the benefits of a mobile messaging program. Summarizing the key areas, and these may vary in importance based on the state of your business and your business goals, are control, security, analytics, technology or capabilities, and the one-stop shop. A EMS provider should provide extensive control mechanisms allowing the enterprise to control their usage of the service so as to control cost. One of the mechanisms we implement is something called role-based access functions. Through this, an enterprise can realize much more control of how and when EMS costs and benefits are realized. In addition, cost management is the concern of every enterprise. So, an intelligent routing service feature that fits the delivery requirements to the routing of the messages enables the EMS to better match the network transport cost to the value of the message being delivered. Today, the security of personal and corporate information is, for a number of reasons, a key area which a EMS provider and enterprise must handle well. A service should be flexible enough to handle any security concerns of the enterprise, be it the transfer of data to the EMS provider itself, or, for very sensitive information, a complete end-to-end secure solution involving multiple secure messaging technologies like encryption or two-factor authentication and actual applications for the smartphone. Another area of security involves ensuring there is leveraging another aspect of role-based access to secure the enterprise data as well as to the EMS service itself. We'll talk more about that later. Let's move on to analytics. Analytics help enterprises understand how effective their EMS is. Things like what percentage of messages are being delivered, what impact did the sales promotion have on actual sales. Without near real-time analytics, it's difficult at best to ensure marketing and business strategies which use EMS are effective. Look for and explore ways your EMS provider can help you understand the effectiveness of your mobile messaging strategies. Another important consideration is the technology or capability or platform upon which the EMS provider has built their service. Do they own and control the EMS software their software is built around? Do they have a demonstrated history of providing systems and services which are always available with high performance? Do the systems scale? And do they have a roadmap that is innovative and in sync with both legacy and emerging technologies? Let's admit it, SMS and MMS are relatively older telecom messaging technologies, yet these are just now in their growth stage for enterprise messaging services. There are new and emerging telecom technologies that are impacting and will impact the next generation of EMS. Pamela spoke about several of these emerging telecom and messaging standards. Ask your EMS provider what they are doing and where they are going. EMS providers who are developing their technology for the mobile network operators must provide highly reliable and scalable systems and must be engaged in the next generation of technologies, enabling new and exciting end-user experiences. So why not choose an EMS provider who is not only developing the same core technology for mobile operators, but who is also providing the next generation of mobile messaging solutions to them as well. Finally, if you are talking to the right EMS provider, they will also be a one-stop shop, handling all the things we've just reviewed, as well as being able to do the initial setup, the end-to-end systems integration, testing, software customization, and of course, the ongoing support your enterprise demands. So here we've talked about what to look for in an EMS partner. Let's quickly examine the benefits of picking the right EMS partner. But before we move to that topic, we have another survey poll we would like you to participate in. The question that's being displayed right now is, what is the most important criteria in selecting an enterprise mobile messaging partner? On your phone, you'll need to enter in the phone number to direct your answer to. That's area code 415, or for those the international customers, +1 415-815-0150. The format of your answer should be as illustrated on the slide. All caps, poll, P-O-L-L, and then one of the answers, either A, B, C, D, or other, in which case you can just enter the text that you prefer. I'll leave that up there for a minute while we start discussing the next slide, which is really talking about the benefits of picking the right EMS provider. Okay, we will share the results of the poll at the end of my talk. Moving on now to the benefits of picking the right EMS partner. There are many providers that can address a company's enterprise messaging needs, but choosing the right partner will have multiple advantages to both the enterprise and its customers. The right partner will provide you not just the capability to deliver the message to your customers, but will bring additional value propositions. For example, by giving you access to better analytics and data to measure the effectiveness of your messaging campaigns, you can measure success. By enabling a single solution that can be implemented across the organization for marketing, sales, customer service, and operations, you are lowering your total investment. By empowering you with a robust, scalable service that lets you launch marketing programs of any size, it makes it easier to drive more revenue. All these factors result in a better return on investment for a company. The right partner should also lower the risk of your investment. Now, what do I mean by that? No single technology has the global reach as mobile messaging does, compared to, say, email, social networks, or physical mailers in your mailbox. So by investing in enterprise messaging, you are investing in a technology and a service that is proven and highly effective for today and tomorrow. Moreover, the right partner should have the mobile technology expertise to give you access to newer technologies like IP push messaging, mobile apps, WebRTC, which is an emerging standard in the web browser area that is also coming to the telecom industry, RCS, another emerging global standard in the mobile network operator industry, and any other mobile technology that your enterprise can benefit from. So you are not spending time and money looking for additional or new partners and switching solutions as your customers adopt new technologies and experiences tomorrow. Partnering with the right EMS service provider will mean you can implement your plans quickly. Again, I'm not just talking about giving you the capability to deliver messages. When you look at the implementation of the solution as a whole, if you have an IT department, the right partner will provide APIs for easy integration. It will also have the expertise to customize a service if you need it, and will take a more consultative approach in providing the capabilities and services to help you implement your strategy quickly and to do it better. Once you launch the service, the right partner will give you access to all the information you need about your mobile messaging programs in one place. Think of it as a customized heads-up display of analytics. Analytics that can tell you how successful your messaging programs are, what percentage of your customers love your product. Run surveys and polls like we've done here to learn their opinions and tastes. which marketing campaigns were the most successful, and much more. Through these analytics and this feedback mechanism, you can continue to enhance your mobile messaging marketing and business strategy. This kind of data gives you the information you need to make better decisions about your marketing and sales promotions, to learn more about your customers, and ultimately to get more ROI on your enterprise messaging investments. So speaking of ROI, let's examine analytics even a little bit more. Let's take a look at a couple of simple scenarios. The delivery-only scenario. Any good enterprise messaging service should provide the enterprise with ways of measuring the effectiveness of one-way messaging delivery services like, for example, appointment reminders, financial transaction status alerts, order confirmations, delivery status updates. Analytics might include the percentage of messages successfully delivered, reports on invalid numbers so that you can go back and enhance their databases since a person's mobile number may have changed and eventually you don't want to have to pay for a message that was never delivered. But something simple like what percentage of messages that hit the mark is a very useful analytic to understand the effectiveness of a campaign. Let's look at a more powerful analytics scenario that involves a feedback mechanism. Measuring the effectiveness of a sales promotion campaign, for example. Here your analytics should show you not only the delivery aspect, but also help you understand whether the campaign had a positive impact on sales. So if your mobile customer receives a promotion, which is a coupon for 15% off pizzas when purchased online on Wednesdays between 2 and 4 p.m., when the pizza shop sends the confirmation to the mobile, the EMS can provide near real-time analytics on the ROI of that campaign. Who doesn't like near real-time analytics when it's your business? An example of another use case that we see is with large financial institutions. They offer promotions to discount things like check cashing services or money transfers during certain day and certain time of the week. The EMS system should generate the analytics tying the outbound promotion to the mobile user using their mobile phone number with the transaction or use of the service during the specified time. This will trigger a thank you message to the subscriber's mobile, allowing the enterprise to directly measure the impact of the promotional campaign. This is a fantastic way to judge the effectiveness and ROI of an EMS-based sales promotion. The same use case would apply to a retail promotion. A retailer offering a coupon for online sales sends a coupon code which, when applied to the purchase online, results in them receiving a discount on their purchase. This results in an outbound order confirmation sent to the consumer's mobile. Bingo. EMS delivering impact and the analytics to prove it. You can see the common denominator here is the mobile number and the EMS. Keeping in mind, the only people who opt into these type of mobile campaigns get them. This is why the impact is so high. Measuring the impact is incredibly powerful. People read these messages because they are relevant to them. Statistics show that mobile messaging campaigns are more effective ways to reach relevant consumers, or to effective ways to communicate to consumers relevant information and trigger action that matters, that mailers and to the house or even email can't achieve. But how easy is it for the enterprise to integrate a EMS into their marketing, sales, and operational plans? This was one of the questions that we just saw a poll result on. A key issue for enterprises who are not already using EMS today is how to take the first step to introduce EMS into the enterprise's business, sales, and operational processes. Enterprise messaging service providers should provide a broad and flexible set of services to enable their service with the existing business operations systems. This requires the EMS to not only provide you with guidelines and tools, but also offer a service to assist in the integration. Many enterprises use a CRM, MRM, or ERP type of system. Salesforce.com is a good example. A quick way to integrate an EMS into your business process are to find an EMS service provider that have an application module that integrates their EMS into the CRM, MRM, or ERP you are using today. Many different types of services are then very easily leveraged when this approach is taken. The ability to distribute product update information, channel promotional campaigns, new product announcements, etc., all from within the system your enterprise is already using. A robust EMS provider will have a broad set of toolkits catering to legacy as well as current industry standard interfaces and APIs. Interfaces like HTTPS, SMPP, SMTP, SOAP, MM7, just to name a few. And APIs based on popular software languages like Ruby, Python, PHP, Microsoft Net, Java, Perl, for example. But most importantly, they should also have an easy way to customize the service interfaces too. This can be software customization within the enterprise application, but for those EMS providers who control, own, and develop their own EMS software platform, they will be able to provide customizations at the EMS service platform as well. In this way, the minimal amount of work is needed at the enterprise to integrate with the EMS, and this also results in a lower risk and quicker time to launch the new EMS service. This issue of using a service provider that owns, controls, and develops its own EMS platform plays into another very important topic on the top of many minds these days: security. How can the right EMS provider help you meet your security needs? Security issues are top of mind these days, so I want to take a little closer look at some security issues and what role a EMS system needs to play to help you protect sensitive information. Remembering we just talked about how beneficial it can be if the EMS provider owns, develops, and maintains the internal software the service rides on, and how that plays directly into how well a EMS service provider can provide the security of both your enterprise data as well as preserve the security of your customers' data during transport to their mobile device and perhaps even on the mobile device. In this picture, we are looking at just a few options for ensuring the security of the enterprise and the mobile user's sensitive information. One part of securing the company's sensitive information is as simple as putting up a VPN using HTTP secure link between the enterprise and the EMS service itself. As a partner, your EMS provider should provide you with some recommendations on what type of security is necessary and what practices you might adopt to best fit your need. This is often based on the type of data being stored at the EMS and the type of messages being communicated to the mobile user. Many security issues are tied to who at the enterprise and who at the EMS have access to things like the company's customer data, the EMS application services that create the messaging campaign, separate from the EMS application that actually initiates the campaign, resulting in an EMS expense and a communication to the customer or employee's mobile device. A robust EMS offering must control access to the company's customer data as well as the access to the EMS services. As we mentioned before, role-based user access controls should be integrated into the EMS service provider's offering, and it should be implemented in a way that segregates access to things like the enterprise's customer data, the enterprise EMS campaign creation system, and the enterprise EMS campaign delivery system. In addition, we need to talk about the end-to-end security needs of a particular EMS message. Having flexible options regarding the end-to-end delivery provide the enterprise with just the right level of security, only providing the level of service necessary and only the expense necessary or appropriate for the information being transported. Some options include two-factor authentication, where a link is sent to the secure server containing the sensitive information. The user must then go to the secure website and enter a password to extract the information. No application on the mobile device is required in this case. Another option is an end-to-end encryption with a secure client app on the smartphone. In this way, the data is secured and encrypted one end to the other, and it goes to a secure application on the smartphone, which you also would need a password to decrypt and read. Other security strategies may be needed depending on the sensitivity of the data. This would include ensuring certain processes are in place, like PII, PCI-DSS, HIPAA, and ISO 27001 when transmitting and storing personal sensitive information. This area of security is becoming a key issue which all enterprises must address in some fashion. Your EMS provider should offer enough options to meet your needs today and tomorrow. How about we switch gears and look at a nice, tangible example of why mobile messaging should be an important part of your sales and marketing program in 2014. According to NCH Marketing Services, 305 billion coupons went into circulation in the U.S. alone in 2012. Of these coupons, only 2.9 billion were used. This is 0.97%. That's right, 0.97%. Even if we triple this amount and assume it was a very successful paper couponing campaign, it pales in comparison to the effectiveness of mobile messaging. Juniper Research says that mobile coupons have a 10% average redemption rate. You can see from these simplified numbers represented on this slide that this is a much better ROI than using mailers. So let's wrap this up and summarize here now. Infinite Convergence plays an important role in today's telecom networks, providing the very network infrastructure and services in use today by your customers that use SMS, MMS, and IM. The systems we place in the mobile network operators to deliver these services are the same services that deliver your enterprise mobile messages to your mobile customers' mobile phones. We own, control, and continue to enhance the software we run our EMS service on. Therefore, our EMS is very well aligned with today's and tomorrow's technology solutions. So no matter what new end-user experiences your enterprise wishes to enable for your customer base, Infinite Convergence's EMS service is well positioned to be the only EMS you will need. Today, the enterprise market is still just rolling out SMS and MMS, which nearly every mobile phone your customer uses has. As new technologies improve customer experiences, we are starting to see the use of instant messaging OTT applications, voice and video-based WebRTC conferencing, and geofencing location-based services, and are already seeing these new emerging services being used in enterprise messaging services as new ways of establishing brand loyalty, improving sales, and improving the bottom line. So before we move on to Pamela, let's summarize the poll results for the question, what is the most important criteria in selecting an enterprise messaging partner? So your responses basically say that one-stop shop and analytics were tied for number one at 30% each. Security and control at 20% each. So those are the results, and I think that basically goes to show that enterprises are looking for some help in implementing EMS services, and that the analytics are key to helping them understand the return on investment. Security and control also come in at some pretty good numbers as well. So I think these things are all things that Infinite Convergence is very well positioned to help you implement and take advantage of. So thank you for your time and this opportunity to speak with you today. Now back to Pamela for some key takeaways and a wrap-up. Pamela?
Thank you, John, for that comprehensive overview of what an enterprise should look for with regards to enabling enterprise messaging services within their organization. And yes, we'll now go through some takeaways. Okay. So I'll just wait till that slide comes up. Okay. Right. So we think that in order for enterprises, we think that enterprises need to overcome their fear of using mobile messaging. I'm sorry, I'm just having some problems here with the slide. Could you push the next slide, please? Thank you. As John was saying, SMS and MMS have been most used, but there are new IP-based communications technologies opening up for enterprises that can also help them to engage with their customers at a deeper and more richer level in a way that will help them to capture the captive audience of mobile with increasingly relevant communications and campaigns. Next, please. I think there are a few to come up there. Thank you. Mobile messaging is also a secure and reliable communications channel which addresses two of the key concerns that enterprises have these days. As John was saying earlier, security is incredibly important when it comes to the use of enterprise mobile messaging because many times it involves the collection and transmission of sensitive data. Reliability, there's no point sending out a messaging campaign if your target audience doesn't receive it. And finally, the adoption of IP-based communication services is increasing, and enterprises need to get themselves into a position where they can start to embrace these services in order to ensure that they can increase their profits, reduce their costs, and most of all, remain relevant to their target market. Okay, thank you very much for your kind attention to the webinar today. I'm now going to hand back to Molly for Q&A.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Pamela. And as you mentioned, we're going to move on to the Q&A. We have lots of great questions, and we'll try to get to as many as possible. Our first question is, will IP-based messaging service from Google, Apple, etc., take over the SMS messaging? I'm not sure which one of you wants to address that one.
Well, I think from a messaging perspective, you're going to see with the advent of broadband messaging a very large mix of different messaging types and different messaging players. I think it's important for enterprises to understand that and to work with a partner that can reach their consumer base or their employee base, regardless of the network medium or transport that is being used by that consumer. As new technologies roll out, enterprises and network operators are in a position to understand where their subscribers are currently active and how to reach them. So I think the world is changing with respect to the mix of services that are available to a consumer, and enterprises need to partner with those that are most able to reach them. Okay. Pamela, did you have a comment?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I would also add that I think that these IP-based messaging services from a number of players will take their place alongside SMS. I don't know that I wouldn't say that SMS is going to completely go away, and certainly not in all markets, even though we are seeing quite a high penetration of IP-based messaging services and applications in a number of markets. The reason for that is that a number of these applications are, they do need to be downloaded onto smartphones. People do need to have broadband mobile data plans in order to be able to access them, or access to Wi-Fi. And that's just simply not there for still quite a large percentage of the mobile phone user world at this point in time. As time goes on, I agree with John, we'll see a mix of messaging technologies in use on mobile devices, and I think people will still continue to use SMS, but they'll use it, and that is very much the case today. They're using it alongside messaging applications as well. So, in terms of taking over, I wouldn't say that was going to happen, but I think there'll be a coexistence.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree. And I think that one of the things that we spoke about during this webinar was the implementation of a feature service called intelligent routing. And that's really the reason why that exists is that there is a multitude of different networking technologies and ways to reach the customer. And intelligent routing is a service that basically enables you to ensure you reach them regardless of the network technology that the mobile user is currently on. So, and then the other thing to remember about SMS, I think we always talk about this in this industry, is that it's really all about reach. And SMS is the most ubiquitous messaging solution in the world today. Every single phone that has a mobile number is reachable via SMS. Now, there's certain types of messages that you may want to send and guarantee that it gets there, and depending on how you implement your enterprise messaging service, you can utilize IP-based clients with acknowledgement-based types of software logic to let the enterprise messaging service know the message was received. You can also fall back to SMS as a known highly reliable delivery mechanism, which may have a higher cost than IP messaging, but we know it's also going to get there. So a lot of these things really depend on what type of information needs to be delivered and what the goals of the enterprise are. But knowing that you're working with an enterprise service provider that's also providing the base technology and transport logic to the very telecom carriers that in the end are delivering some of these messages, I think is a benefit to the enterprise, since they have to supply not just today's technologies but also be involved in ensuring that they're providing competitive solutions for tomorrow's end user experiences.
Excellent. Thanks, John. And our next question is a pretty interesting one. Someone wants to know what the trends are in using enterprise messaging for internal corporate use in the mobile world.
So I think here, from an internal communications perspective, we're typically talking about, the use cases that I would be aware of are things that are managing cost and lowering the cost of operations. So this would be communicating with employees to let them maybe know where their next appointment is, so they don't have to call into the dispatcher. You just already tell them, okay, after you're done with your current appointment, here's where you're going next. And there are many other types of communications reasons or use cases why you would internally use this type of service internally. Could be, maybe there's public safety information, for example, which maybe is not specifically employee related, but certainly could be, where you've had an event occur and now you're trying to broadcast a message out to first responders, or you're trying to send a message out to residents in a particular area. These are all things that you could use enterprise messaging to effectively communicate to either employees or to residents or first responders.
Or even things like in the IT department, you might have systems set up so that they would send an SMS to an admin to let them know of a fault in a particular piece of equipment, for example, or you might have engineers in the field being communicated with via SMS, as John was saying, to sort of manage their job allocation. These kinds of use cases exist and are being used today.
That's true. We have had several IT department type of use cases for EMS for just that type of application.
Great. And it looks like this will be our final question. We had a lot of great questions today and couldn't get to them all, but we will be getting back to everyone who submitted personally after the webinar. So for our last question, it is, how can an EMS provider guarantee secure termination to mobile operators?
Okay, for this is I think a pretty simple thing today. We would put up a VPN and utilize secure protocol like HTTPS to secure the link from the enterprise to the EMS service provider. And this kind of falls in line with the rest of the whole security issue here. If you were to have to in fact ensure secure transmission all the way to the mobile device, then we would implement a end-to-end encryption protocol. There's several of them that are available to us, along with a client app that would sit out on the mobile handset. There's a way to do to send them a link so that they could then go to a secure website, enter a password, and get their data instead of having an application be a requirement on the handset. So I think there's several different options available to you in this particular space, but specifically from the enterprise to the EMS, it would just be a VPN with an HTTPS link.
All right. Well, thank you for attending this Fierce Live webinar and submitting so many great questions. I'd like to thank our speakers for participating and Infinite Convergence for presenting today's webinar. The webinar has been recorded, so you will be able to access the recording within 24 hours on the same page you used to register for this event. Thank you again for joining, and we look forward to seeing you at future events.
Yes, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.